During 2003, in the city of Philadelphia, there were 348 people murdered. I could have been one. Madam Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests, have you ever had an experience that put your whole life in perspective? Today, you'll join me on the ride of my life and walk away knowing an eternal truth that could change the way you approach every day. You see, back in 2003, I was carefree and I was living for me. Back then, I was having the time of my life and I felt indestructible. That summer, I played bass in a punk rock band. And on July 1st, we played a gig in West Philadelphia. Have you ever been there? Well, imagine graffiti on every block, power lines decorated with old sneakers, and stores where they took your order behind bulletproof glass. You could call it a rough neighborhood. But that day, we played a thrashing set to a sweaty crowd in a filthy basement. And it was glorious! Oh, after that set, I was so caught up in the rock star afterglow that 3 hours passed by before I ever realized my band's drummer, Moran, completely disappeared. And then I got worried, because Moran didn't have a cell phone. It's after dark, and did I mention this is a rough area in Philadelphia? So to find Moran, my friend Jeff and I decided we'd drive my car around the block. Now Jeff is a scrawny, goofy-looking kid, and the two of us were completely out of place in West Philly. We hopped in my rusty blue Ford Taurus wagon and drove up to the stoplight. Then I heard the slam of a car door and a gruff voice mutter, "Make a left." I look at my back seat and I see this homeboy with frazzled hair and bloodshot eyes, and he's rocking back and forth with his hand under his shirt. He looked me right in the eye and said, "Don't look at me!" My heart jumped, and then it sank like a stone. His homeboy said, "You're giving up this car, or I'm going to start blasting." What would you do in this situation? I felt trapped, and my mind was racing. Does he have a gun? I can't give him my car. How will I get home? My parents don't even know I'm here. Yeah, I hadn't told him about this little gig. See, no parents. They would have worried. For a moment, I imagined how they would react if I came home without the car. And then, the pain they would feel if I never came home at all. Suddenly, homeboy says, "Stop here!" And I pull over on a back alley under an old street light. The only sound you can hear is the idling engine and the hum of air conditioners. There's no one around. Homeboy barks, "Get out!" Jeff gets out of the car. Then he leans across the seat, and I can smell his smoky breath as he growls, "You leave those keys and get out!" I couldn't do it. I turn off the engine, take the keys, and get out. Then homeboy starts around the front of the car. Guess which way I went. Now he's across from Jeff and I, and he is frustrated. Homeboy yells out, "You got to the count of 3 to toss those keys over here, or you're going to die! 1! And then I reached down into my pocket. 2! And I grabbed this rosary. This rosary belonged to my grandma Toby, a woman of incredible faith and an iron will. I had been carrying it with me every day since her death earlier that year. And standing there under that streetlight, not knowing if I was going to live or die, I remembered Grandma's faith and said a prayer. And it was answered. Because at that moment, I felt as though I were wearing a suit of armor. And I knew my life has a purpose. And it is not to die like this. Have you ever experienced divine intervention? 3! No shot. He didn't have a gun, but he wasn't done either. Homeboy keeps yelling as he walks around the back of the car. Jeff, get the car! I turn the keys, I look over, I see Jeff. He's in the seat, but he can't get the door closed because homeboy's trying to fight his way in. Well, I'm not waiting to see who wins that. I throw it in drive, hit the gas, and we take off. And as we pull away, I look over, I see Jeff. He's okay. Homeboy is in the dust and... Woo! I can't believe that just happened! Jeff looks at me and says, I can't believe you let him have this crappy car. We found our way back to the show and later met up with Moran, who was perfectly fine, by the way, until I saw him. But that day, I was reminded of a powerful truth, that life has a purpose. Your life has a purpose. And you don't need to be in danger to be reminded of that. Instead, look at a picture of loved ones. Read an inspirational quote. Or even carry a rosary. Remember to cherish every day. Commit your life to something meaningful. And always lock your car doors.